Next one is going to be a little more complicated in some ways, but it's going to use a couple more events. It's going to use the family loading in a document event, and it's going to use that I updater I mentioned. And the idea is that what if you loaded a family that was more than 3 megs in size? This example here is not one we have working in our firm, but maybe we should in some ways. But the idea is that if you bring a family into your project that's more than three megs in size, you have a choice to cancel that load or let them load it. That could be changed to not allow people not to load like standard firm families. It could be changed to only load unify families. And there's a lot of possibilities, but I'm using it right now for file size. So when you're loading a document into your family in your Revit model, this is going to come up if the family size is more than 3 megs. That's what's going to happen there. And then, well, I wanted to show you what document change event would do then. It would show you how many elements were changed and how they were changed, if they're added, modified, or deleted. This one here is part of the same example, but what if somebody deletes a floor? And the idea is that this only looks for floors and ceilings. And people delete floors by accident, or new people delete them and delete 1,000 other things. So it's another way of maybe catching somebody from having somebody catch a mistake before they save the central. So let me show you this example here run. But the idea is that, again, assists the user from loading undesired families, prevents possible model corruption, because the families may, during this process here, you can even check the family for parameter information, for other types of stuff, maybe stuff that you would say, you know what, this family shouldn't be loaded. We shouldn't even allow the user to load it. You can stop them from loading it. Promotes cleaner, smaller models, and also prevents possible user error, which is more about this one here. Let's go into this example here. I'm going to get rid of that other one. Again, these would load if I didn't do this, these examples. I want them to load. Because I want to debug it, and that's so we step through the code. So I'm going to run through here and debug this guy. It's going to launch Revit again. If I go too fast, let me know, or if I skip over things you really want to know more about, let me know. I have a lot of coffee during the day, unfortunately, sometimes, and it happens. So right now we're back to startup again. So Revit's starting up. We're going to load the family loading into document event, and we're also going to register the document changed event. And we're also going to register this other event, the iUpdater one. And this iUpdater one, there is an example that's in the help file, that a full example. So I probably shouldn't talk too much about it, so I can keep going. But the idea is that this is a very surgical way of hook function in a lot of ways of looking for just ceilings, and it's a little more convoluted to set up. But there is a full example in the help file, also in the handout you'll have on GitHub as well. But this will just look for ceilings and floors that are being deleted. It doesn't care if you're adding ceilings or floors or modifying them, just if you're deleting them. That's how explicit it could be. It could be very explicit, which is actually pretty nice in that respect. But we have to load or register all 3 of these. So I'm going to hit continue. And then once that comes up, I'm going to drag in a family. Once I go into a model. Nothing should load here. No stopping should happen here. And we'll go into just a floor plan real quick here. I have to get rid of that guy here for a sec. Back in the Revit. And if I go into class files, families, I got a bunch of families in here. Some are smaller, some are bigger. I'm going to drag in this 20-person boat table. I forget where I got it, but the idea is that this event trigger because we registered. So first thing I'm doing right here is I'm getting the full path of that family. I want to find out where that family is, because you can't tell the size of a family while it's in Revit. You only tell the size of a family while it's on RFA. So I'm going to check the file size of that family. in this little method here. It's going to tell me that it's 7.6 megs. So if it's greater than 3 megs, I'm going to show an Autodesk, or I'm sorry, Revit task dialog box. That's all it's going to do, and then it's going to give me the option to cancel or not cancel. So I keep stepping through this code here, and that's what it's going to do. So if I hit, you know what, I hit no, I don't want it to load because it's too big. Or again, if I change my logic so that it didn't come from Unify, or it's a corrupt family, didn't have certain parameters in it. Maybe it had parameters, GUIDs that were different than the other family parameter GUIDs of the same category. I can say no automatically, and not even give them a choice. Well, I hit no this case, and then once it goes to no here, I'm just going to verify I can cancel this event. And in this case, I can because it says true. It's cancelable. If I look at this method here that I'm using for this event, it gives you this arguments here. There aren't too many options here, but one of them is if it's cancelable or not. So you can see the family name, you can see the path, and it is cancelable. And even have access to a lot of the document information if you wanted it here. But anyway, so I can cancel this event because it says it's true. So I'm going to hit F11, step through the code, and then continue. Now, because I'm not surprised I went into this one, actually, to be honest, because I canceled it. But anyway, nothing's being deleted. As you can, so right now I went into document changed event. Nothing's being deleted, nothing's being added, deleted, or modified. So I'll just breeze through that. So it just didn't do anything, right? So instead, if I actually hit yes, if I actually bring a family in instead of hit cancel, I'll bring in the two-person table. I'll just hit continue this time. I mean, I know it's going to be over 3 megs. It's 6.2 megs. I'll hit yes this time. So bring the family in. Now it's going to go right into document change, and document change really gives you 3 things. It gives you how many elements are added, deleted, and modified, the element IDs of those objects. And from that, you can get the elements in the code. You can actually look up an element by its ID to find out what it is. But so it's adding, or bringing in this one family, it's bringing in 252 elements, you know, and it's deleting probably none, and it's modifying one for one reason or another. And I'm just going to show a quick little message box for that. And then it's going to go into, again, for some reason, I'm showing this for a couple different reasons. One is that this is not an efficient event to use, but it can be useful, though. It shouldn't keep going into that so many times, but it does. Then I can place the family. And it keeps going into that dialog box to show me what was changed in the model. So it added one family, and didn't do anything there, didn't modify anything there. So that's what that one does. I use that event a lot in our data mining because I count how much activity is happening in a project. So I count how many times that's fired. So I know who's doing the most work in a model, let's say. I keep track of that in a database, actually. So it can be a useful event to use for that purpose. The other one I want to show you quickly is the iUpdater one. So let's say I go into this section here. Let's say I'm a new user, and you know what? I'm going to delete these floors and ceilings. Of course, you wouldn't do that typically, but I'm going to get rid of. I'm not going to delete levels because you can't undo levels. I hit delete. So right now there's 8 objects selected right now, 8 floors and ceilings. Okay. And it went right into the execute method for the iUpdater. And again, I didn't do a good job of showing you how that was set up, but it's basically the same thing. It's really just grabbing whatever I just did. It's looking for a very specific event, only when I deleted ceilings and floors. It didn't care about anything else I did. I could have deleted a view, added anything else I wanted to. I could have modified a floor. It wouldn't have fired. But because I deleted those objects, it cares. So right now, it knows I deleted 8 elements. And it's going to tell me that in the message box. So basically, I delete 8 ceilings and floors. And unfortunately, in this event, you can't force it to undo. You have to undo it manually after the fact. But the idea is that if I'm a new user and I see something like this, okay, maybe I did something stupid. I close. and then I'll just continue here, so it goes past that. Goes into the document changed event, because the document did change too, right? So this time it didn't add anything. It deleted 56 elements, and it also modified 4 elements. So you can see the difference between the two events. One only cares about ceilings and floors, while this one cares about anything that was added, modified, and deleted. And there's a good article that happened here from the building coder that I can send you guys, but it talks about how using the iUpdater is much more efficient than using document change because of how many times this fires compared to how accurate this can be instead. The iUpdater one I mentioned. But it's just the fact that this is going to show me that I deleted a lot of objects because I deleted 8 floors and ceilings, and there were obviously elements that were associated to them. Yeah.
So what causes that fire then? Because I see you going on the script here looking at it, something
Mm-hmm.
so if you're just working with Revit, what would cause that every time you make something that kind of pop up?
Yes. When I first started this application, I registered these events right here: family loading family loading document event, and also this document changed event. That's how it's always going to fire no matter what I do. Like if I go back right now in here and I undo this, which I'm going to undo it definitely. I'll undo everything. It goes back in this here again because it's still loaded. It's not unregistered yet. So now it's telling me it's added back 56 elements, 1,103 elements, and then modified 5. So it's going to keep firing until I unregister it or close Revit.
It's going to keep firing over like boards, ceilings, or add everything.
The one iUpdater one will, but the document changed one will fire for anything. If I delete this guy here. So there's one, yeah. Let me see
Does that box, the dialog box, come up every time?
Yeah, in this example, because I put it in there. So yeah, dialog box is going to pop up every time. So if I go here, as long as it finds elements, I'm showing a dialog box right here, this task. You don't have to, obviously. But yeah, that's what it's going to do. It's going to probably fire a couple times. Let's see. Okay, so I brought everything back. Show you. So yeah, I mean, I closed Revit, first of all, so it's going to the Revit shutdown event, and it's going to unregister all those events I registered. So that's all it's going to do right here. Unregister everything I registered before. Nothing rocket science, but it's just going to unregister the events on Revit shutdown. And that's going to close Revit. That's it for that one.